to Would I Lie to You, the show where it's a talent to tell tales. On David Mitchell's team tonight, next to the Aran sweater Mrs. Brydon knitted me, he's my favourite ever jumper. It's Olympic long jump gold medalist Greg Rutherford. And she is the Crime Watch host, who's one of the most popular presenters on television. So I'm sure you'll be cheering her on tonight, unless you're watching this from G-Wing. It's Kirsty Young. And on Lee Mack's team tonight, a comedy actress and star of The Thick of It, a political show all about spin, which is one of the few four-letter words from that show we can say at 8:30. It's Joanna Scanlon. And a comedian who's come here all the way from Germany. I said to him, "You're a star?" And he said, "Thanks very much, I am quite famous now." It's Henning Wehn. So we begin tonight with round one. It's Home Truths, where our panellists read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before. They've no idea what they'll be faced with. And it's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. Kirsty is first up. Kirsty, off you go.
OK. I have 5 chickens, all named after my favourite newsreaders.
Oh.
Well, there we are. Right, please, team, what do you think?
What are their names?
Their names are Anna Ford,
Yeah.
Jan Leeming,
Another newsreader.
Selina Scott,
Newsreader.
Oh. 2 Scottish ones, Viv Lumsden and Mary Marquis. They were very well-known newsreaders in Scotland.
What, specifically for Scottish news?
There is Scottish news, yes.
You didn't mention Angela Rippon, did you?
Angela Rippon died. Not the newsreader, the chicken.
Actually, it was Moira Stewart that died.
Oh, not Moira.
This is chickeny Moira Stewart that's passed away.
Chickeny
In case
Moira
any viewers
Stewart.
are upset, newsy Moira Stewart is as fit as she's ever been.
Well, as long as she can... Can I just ask, is that a joke about Moira Stewart, or did you really have a chicken called Moira Stewart that died?
I really... It's just the way you're looking at me is putting me off. I really had a...
I have to say, Kirsty...
This is not the first time a woman has said that to me.
What breed of chicken are they?
They are Burford Browns and Cotswold Leg Bars.
Right, do you know enough about chickens? Are they real chickens, then?
Yeah, those are real chickens.
How do you know so much about chicken? You seem to know a lot.
Well, I know that... well, in Waitrose...
I thought for a minute then you were some sort of farming expert. It turns out you're just very middle class.
Exactly. And they've got those Cotswold leggy ones, I've noticed, the eggs.
Can I ask why you didn't have any male newsreaders?
Well, because we actually... Well, I'm going to have to say it now. We didn't want a cock.
Is it me or is it getting hot in here?
When you say they are your favourite newsreaders, how
Can I just say, of all the people we've had on the show, you're the most... It sounds like you're actually interrogating.
Well, how do you rate newsreaders? That's the thing I want to understand.
Well, if you've been in the newsreading game as I have, Henning, it's a bit like... I'm sure when you watch stand-ups, you think, well, they're good, they're not so good, they're...
Oh, I hate a lot of them.
Right. Well,
So why was that one Selina Scott and not that one?
well, funny you should ask that. Selina Scott, particularly beautiful, with sort of blondish feathers.
So Jan Leeming, then, what were her markings?
Well,
The chicken, not
Yes.
Jan Leeming.
Well, she's a rather dignified bird, and she's a very good layer.
Again, are we...
You asked for it.
What do you think, Lee? Is she telling the truth?
I'm not buying that. I don't think that's true. I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie?
I think it may be true, but I'm going to go with Henning. I think he's got a very good beak for it.
We'll go with Henning's beak and we'll say that that is a lie.
You're saying it's a lie. Kirsty, were you telling us the truth or were you telling a lie?
It's true.
Yes, it was true all along. Kirsty does have 5 chickens named after newsreaders. Henning, it's your turn.
For 3 weeks, I was listed as a missing person by Interpol.
Wow.
When did this happen?
In the mid-90s.
Where were you? Had you actually disappeared?
I was in Morocco.
What were you doing there?
I was on a bike ride in Spain.
You were on a bike ride in Spain in Morocco.
Can I have a moment to chat with my client?
What happened was, I met someone in Spain on a train, a Moroccan
So hang on,
man.
was this bike ride in Spain happening on the train? Was it? It was like, because I know that you get those Spanish bike rides on trains in Morocco. It's probably one of those.
No, there was bad weather, and that's why I took the train from the north of Spain to the south of Spain, because apparently, according to the local newspaper, there was better, more agreeable bicycling weather.
How did you then get into Morocco, though?
That is because I met that Moroccan bloke on the train. and
Which Moroccan bloke?
Yeah, does he have a name?
I can't quite remember, but it was Mohammed or something.
But Mohammed the Moroccan, you met on the train in Spain.
He asked me if I wanted to join him to go to Morocco. And then I thought, well, I've never been outside Europe. In for a penny, in for a pound. So
you were picked up by a strange Moroccan on a train and agreed to go back to Morocco with him.
What's the worst that can happen?
How did you find out that you were on the Interpol list?
I realised only once I rang my parents, once I was back in Spain. And I rang my parents, and for them it was like someone found them from beyond the grave.
So why didn't you ring your parents from Morocco?
Because that man, that Mohammed,
You remember Mohammed, don't you?
Yeah.
He was the man on the train.
The Moroccan on the train.
The Moroccan on the train who invited him back to his house.
So
Yeah.
and then when I was staying with Mustafa and his family...
From what port did you leave Spain and into which port did you enter Morocco?
Question.
Well, we left Spain, if I remember correctly, from Algeciras and went over to Ceuta, which is one of the two Spanish enclaves in the north of Morocco.
Good answer.
I think you've just clutched victory from the jaws of defeat.
How was it then resolved? How did you end up getting off of the list?
Well, hang on a minute, we're jumping ahead here.
Yeah.
What the
Yeah,
hell
he's
did
allowed
you
to
in
do that, him,
Morocco?
isn't he?
What were you doing?
I was travelling with Mohammed.
My client is getting mixed up because at passport control they said you must have a passport. And he's getting a bit mixed up with the names.
I'm curious as to the fact that Interpol has a missing persons list.
Yeah, no, what happened is my parents got involved and they got Interpol involved.
Right.
And I sent a few postcards, one of them, to my friend Mack. And on that postcard I wrote, I've joined the Foreign Legion. Probably see you never again, have a good life or something. And then, Mack, being a quite clever boy, thought, OK, with this postcard I can have a lot of fun. I go round Henning's parents and say them something along the lines of, Herr Wehn, Frau Wehn, you might be interested in this.
Sorry, so your friend Mark
Yes.
used this postcard to mentally torture your parents? I'll make his parents think he's disappeared forever for a laugh.
Well, it's German sense of humour.
What do we know about this Moroccan chap who we're calling Mohammed?
He hadn't been home for many, many years. And so we couldn't take the boat straight to Morocco. We had to go to one of the Spanish enclaves because he had to collect a suitcase full of books from a cafe in Ceuta.
Why did he have a suitcase full of books?
Because someone left them there for him.
But why books? in a suitcase?
Well, it was back in the mid-90s, people were still reading.
So he went to a cafe in the Spanish enclave of Morocco
Yes.
to collect a suitcase which he told you was full of books.
Well, I suppose a friend of his left them there.
Yes, but
I
why?
mean, you know what it sometimes is like, isn't it? Like, well, I can't quite think of an example.
But if he could, it would be like that.
This Interpol list that you were on, can you just elaborate on how your parents got you onto it?
Well, they rang the consulate, and they rang all
Which
sorts
consulate?
of... The German one.
Which German consulate?
Well, the one in Morocco.
They
And
didn't
the
ring
one
the
in-
police. They rang the German consulate in Morocco.
Well, that's how you would go about it, wouldn't you? It's
I
no
don't
good
know.
ringing your local Bobby.
And what happens then with the list? Do you just... They have to tell Interpol, stop
Yeah.
looking for Henning. We
Yeah, I
found him.
suppose so, yeah.
Well, did they? For all
My
we know, they're
parents are
still
quite-
looking for you now.
I'm safe.
So what do you think, David? Does any of that have the ring of truth, or has he made all that up?
What do you think, Kirsty?
I think it's so odd and inconsistent and unlikely that it must be true.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards as well.
Yeah.
I think that as well. I think it's true.
Yeah.
Henning, was that the truth, or were you telling a lie?
Well, this story is true.
Yes, it's true. Henning was listed as a missing person by Interpol. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. This week, each of David's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to Lee's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Andy. So, let's start with Kirsty. What is Andy to you?
This is Andy. He played a handbag snatcher in a Crime Watch reconstruction. And we only got 9 calls, but every single one of those 9 calls said that Andy was actually the bag snatcher.
Greg, what is Andy to you?
This is Andy. I beat him in a speed eating competition where I ate more than 1 kilo of ribs.
All right, David, what's your relationship with Andy?
This is Andy. Last year, he gave me a surfing lesson, and he told me that he'd never seen a novice display such natural ability amongst the waves.
So there we have it. Kirsty's Crime Watch culprit, Greg's rib-eating rival, or David's complimentary surf coach. Lee, where do you want to start?
Definitely with David. Could you just show us the basic move? Because I had a surfing lesson once, and the first thing you learn is to go from lying to standing. Don't you? Could you show us that move?
The lying to standing move.
You heard it.
I can't really remember it. It was only one lesson.
Where did you go for a surf?
Near Newquay.
Cornwall.
So I'm not letting it go. Would you demonstrate the movement from... This should be interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm
So you're lying on the board. I'm helping you as much as I can.
lying on the board.
And watch the movement, ladies and gentlemen. Watch as he gets to the
I'm
stand.
sort of paddling along.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Paddling,
you
yeah.
get up to your knees first.
Oh, do you?
And then, so I'm not on my knees
Then
now. I'm
turn
still a bit
90.
shaky, though.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a beginner, basically.
But you're a natural.
Already I'm showing promise.
Do you? I'm-
See, I haven't fallen in.
If not.
And then...
You're the
then
only person I know that actually, when they were doing it, were dressed like that.
Yeah.
So you're on your knees.
Yeah, and then I stand up on it.
Do it.
All right. Can I use
Oh,
that?
that was the... Jill.
What I did that not everyone can do is actually leant on a wave. Because you can. That's, you know, if you hit water at enough speed, it's like concrete. And similarly, for me, it's just up. There you go. And then I thought I'm surfing that way. But then, if you want to turn round, you just move the tiller and.
Why were you down there, and why had you decided? You don't strike me as a man of the sea.
It was a stag do. A friend of mine was getting married.
I know what stag do's are.
In the run-up, he decided it was a weekend in Cornwall.
Who was the friend?
His name was Robbie.
David, what size was the board?
What size is the board?
Yeah.
That's him giving him time to think, the reiteration of the
What
question.
size? The board
Oh, what size?
size?
The board of the side.
You want me to tell you the board size?
Yeah.
Normal.
Normal size.
Normal.
What size is a normal size
How long
board?
is this? Well, this surfboard was 6 feet long.
6 feet.
6 feet. Could have been
That's a
less. Could
very
have been
short
more.
surfboard.
10
that
foot
was-
would have been believable. 6 foot is not believable.
6 foot, yeah, but he's quite a maverick.
To be honest, I didn't
Surf.
measure it.
One final question. What else did you and the guys get up to on the stag weekend, David?
We had a curry.
Rock and roll.
Cornish curry.
If you go to the seaside, you're not having a curry, you're having fish and chips, don't you? And what sort of stag do goes all the way to a Newquay and say, well, I really fancy now some naan bread.
I must say, if that's the part that you think is the chink in my armour, that stag do wouldn't have a curry on the seaside, then I reckon I'm doing all right.
Right, Lee, who's next?
OK, Kirsty.
Yes.
Just remind me again of your
Well,
thing.
this is Andy, and in a Crime Watch reconstruction, he played a bag snatcher, and we only got 9 calls on the particular reconstruction, and every single one of them actually named Andy as the real bag snatcher.
He was representing the criminal, yeah? And
Yeah, the bag snatcher.
the bag snatcher. How much money was in the bag?
Well, that was the reason, because we wouldn't normally have something like a bag snatching on Crime Watch, because although it's serious for the person it's happened to, it's not.
But is this where you're going to
relatively
pretend
that
it was more
serious.
serious? She wouldn't let go of the bag, so it ended up as kidnap.
No. No, you shouldn't make light of it, Lee. It's crime.
So Andy would be then an actor, would he?
Yeah, Andy was an actor.
Well, why did the 9 people bother to ring up and say, my friend Andy the actor is playing...
No, they weren't. No, they were people who had actually witnessed the crime, who phoned us and said that is the actual guy. He looked so like the person who perpetrated the
case
crime.
of-
So you're telling me that people rang up the BBC and said, I think I know who did it. It's the person I've just seen doing it in the reconstruction.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What are you talking about?
Just to be clear, Crime Watch has been going it'll be 25 years next year. This has never happened before.
You don't say. I would go as far to say it's never happened at all.
Was Andy subsequently arrested?
Andy wasn't arrested.
He wasn't arrested.
No.
He wasn't arrested, he's an actor! Of course he wasn't arrested!
Get him now!
Yes, get him quick!
Right, what about Greg and his
You think
story?
Greg did it? He would have got away.
He would.
So go on, Greg, remind us of your thing.
This is Andy, and I beat him in a speed eating contest where I ate over a kilo of ribs.
Where was this?
At a training camp. Andy's an athlete,
What's his event?
the 110-metre hurdle, so it's over 10
He
hurdles.
runs over 110-metre hurdles.
Well,
Does he use a ladder?
If you're wondering what a kilo of ribs looks like, I'm your man, because look at these here, you see? Here we go.
Oh.
So that's
Well,
a kilo
it
of ribs.
smells. So that is a kilo of ribs. How long did it take you to eat this much ribs?
I think, if I remember correctly, about 6 minutes.
6 minutes to eat all that?
minutes.
Yeah.
But how did you know whether you'd finished them or not?
They weren't there anymore.
Let's do it logically.
OK, so let's...
So let's assume there is 60 bits on the racks,
Yeah?
and you've eaten them all in 6 minutes, which works out as 6 seconds a thingy bob. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's doable.
I think that
Right. We need an answer. So, Lee's team is Andy, Kirsty's Crime Watch culprit, Greg's rib-eating rival, or David's complimentary surf coat.
Andy does look like an athlete.
Yeah.
He does. He definitely.
He
well,
really does
yeah, but
look like
he
an
also
athlete.
looks a bit like a surfing dude, and dare I say, a minor criminal.
I think it's Greg.
OK. You think it's Greg?
I don't think it's Kirsty. I think it's more likely Greg.
I have 2 Gregs, so I will make that 3 Gregs. 3 Gregs,
Okay,
please.
saying it's Greg. Andy, please reveal your true identity.
So my name is Andy, and Greg did once beat me to eating a kilo of ribs.
And it's not just any Andy. This is Andy Turner, who is indeed European and Commonwealth hurdling champion. Big thanks to Andy Turner, ladies and gentlemen. Which brings us to our final round, quick-fire lies. We start with... It's Lee.
I have had to stop listening to a classic 1980s pop song because every time I play it, it makes my baby daughter cry.
David and team.
What is the song?
I can't talk about it. It's Ultravox, Vienna.
And how many times had you played it and she cried before you decided, oh, hang on, no, this is definitely a trend?
It happened 3 times randomly, and on the 3rd time I thought, this has got to be... That's not a coincidence now, because she seems to be doing it at the same point.
Which bit?
Well, it starts off quite slow. It goes... We'll be here all night if I do this. and then suddenly, he suddenly goes, the feeling is gone. And then she started crying her eyes out, and I thought, that's coincidence. So I tried it once, finally, just to test it.
So after the 3rd time, you decided, OK, I'm spotting a trend, and then you played it a 4th time.
4th time. I even filmed it. I thought I'll film the evidence.
Yeah.
How loud was the track when you were playing it? Because it seems as if
Piercingly
it went
loud that
from
would make a baby cry, because I really wanted to prove my point on the 4th one.
So what are you thinking, David?
Greg, what do you think?
I don't know. I haven't had any children of my own, so I don't know whether or not they just hate one track like that.
You
but-
should get one, because then they'll get a sandpit and you'll be happy.
I think it's true.
I think it's a lie. Really?
I think it's true, because I think the pitch of the music, I think it is the kind of thing that could disturb a little baby.
Well, I'm going to go with Kirsty. I think it's true.
You think it's true?
Yeah.
OK. Lee, were you telling the truth, or was it a lie?
It is, in fact, true.
It is true. And, rather excitingly, we can prove it.
I did film it. I felt terrible. I did it once. It's never been played again. Play the
OK,
BT.
so here it is.
So I'm going to play this once and we'll never do this again. All right, Millie, promise you we'll never do this again.
So sorry, Millie. That's the bizarrest thing. I think you'll agree, ladies and gentlemen, now that's light entertainment.
It makes me so angry because they wouldn't show the clip of me attacking my mother with a taser. I thought it was really funny.
Yes, it's true. There is nothing that Lee will not do for a laugh. Next. It's me. Right. I was recently bounced off a bouncy castle whilst trying to prevent a bouncident.
What's a bouncident?
It's an incident involving a bounce, and you put the two together to create bouncident.
Sure,
So
it's a
it's-
derivative of accident, not incident.
Well, obviously, an accident is an incident, and a bouncident is an incident. Was this bouncident an accident?
It was a bouncident waiting to happen.
How did you go about preventing the bouncident that might or might not have happened?
I'll tell you everything. let me set the scene for you. It's early summer It was the birthday party of a small child.
Was you invited or just turned up?
Look, let's be clear. There's a children's party in a church hall.
Yeah.
I'm attending because it's the party of my nephew.
Yeah.
And there's a bouncy castle.
Whoa, in the church hall?
I know, I've never
Indoors?
seen
Yes,
that.
yes.
An indoor bouncy castle?
Indoors?
Yes.
How big
No,
was
there
it?
wasn't.
No, there...
How did they get it in the door?
That's a fire hazard.
I'm not an idiot. How did they get it in the door? We've got him.
No, I'm sorry, church hall, is that where the service is being held?
No.
This is
It's
no.
the adjacent
This is
building.
Church Hall was our Prime Minister during the war. Now, I don't like bouncy castles, because I think they're dangerous.
Right.
And my little boy went on after I'd expressly told him not to.
Well, he disobeyed your orders. The worst father I've had, the most incompetent father. Well, I don't like to say, but I think the boy's better off in care.
Hey, this is very upsetting. He clambered on, unbeknownst to me.
Yeah.
And he's going back and forth. So I get on and I get my little boy, George, who is not even 2, and I pick him up.
Right.
OK? And I'm trying now to hold my little boy whilst being bounced by these evil children. My wife is stood on terra firma, and as I'm coming off the bouncy castle, a particularly hefty child bounces, sending me up. Holding my son, I hurtle through the air. Luckily, I come to my feet like Spider-Man, but the impetus is too much. I surge forward and headbutt my wife, thus having the bouncident that I was trying to avoid. So, what are you going to say, Lee?
What do we think?
Yes, I think it's
You
true.
think it's true?
If a 2-year-old had clambered on, you might well go and get your 2-year-old off.
I think that's true.
Well, then I must say true.
You say true. David's team?
Well, we'll say it's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie.
Yeah.
You say it's true. Well, it's actually true.
Tension mount.
Yes, it's true. I was recently bounced off a bouncy castle while trying to prevent a bouncident. That noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show, and I can reveal that David's team have won by 3 points to 2.
Okay. 3-2 up.
But of course, it's not just a team game. My individual liar of the week this week is Henning Vane. Yes, Henning Vane. It was a close-run thing, but he won on penalties. Good night. And welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show with dedication to fabrication. And on Lee Mack's team tonight, a TV chef who co-wrote the Hairy Dieter's book. I bought it last week, and I've already lost £9. Well, £8.99 to be precise. It's the hairy biker, Dave Myers. And a woman whose working day starts at 3 a.m. So put your hands together very quietly so you don't wake her up. It's Susanna Reid. On David Mitchell's team tonight, a man who is one of the few comedy geniuses who can do the vital but thankless task of hosting a comedy panel show. Jimmy Carr. And a comedian and actor with a line in saving nature and restoring homes. But tonight we'll be after a little less conservation and a little more action. It's Griff Rhys-Jones. And so we begin with round one, Home Truths, where our panellists read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before, so they've no idea what they'll be faced with. And it's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. Jimmy Carr is first up.
As a baby, I was regularly fed coffee in my bottle.
Lee Mack's team, what do you make of that?
From birth?
I thought you were going to say from your mother's breast. You were given coffee in the milk.
Milky coffee from about the age of 3.
This is not hot coffee, obviously.
Yeah, no, it would have been
Quite warm.
warm, milky coffee.
And when you got older, did you ever say to your parents, why did this happen?
Yeah.
My children like coffee. Nowadays, you can have what they call a kiddie-chino. A baby-chino,
Baby
sorry.
chino.
Baby-chino. I got it wrong. Kiddie-chino.
Actually, a kiddie chino is just a very small pair of trousers. You probably do use them.
If they were putting coffee in your milk...
No, they weren't putting coffee in my milk. I was having coffee. Slightly milky coffee.
Okay.
Well, that is the same as putting coffee in milk.
No,
That's the very definition of milky coffee.
between putting coffee in milk and putting milk in coffee.
What is the distinction?
Well, it's like the distinction between having a glass of water and going swimming. In the one case, you're putting water in yourself, in the other case, you're putting yourself in water.
Did they give you other sort of more adult foodstuffs at a very young age?
I think I was allowed a modicum of booze as a child.
Oh, were you? At what age were you allowed booze?
Like as a baby.
That was to offset the coffee buzz.
Yeah.
Lee, what were you given as a child?
Evo stick.
That's glue.
Yeah, but that was to stop me getting out the cop.
David, as a small child, what were they bringing you in your quarters?
Just a port and a cigar.
Took the words out of my self-parodic mouth. No, the blood of a pheasant.
Did you say pheasant or peasant?
Lee, what are you thinking? Is there any truth in this? Which way are you leaning?
I don't know. What do you think, guys?
I think we're skirting on the edge of giving out really bad childcare advice.
That is true, but I can't help thinking that any parent that's looking at Jimmy and thinking, I want to raise a child like that anyway, is a dodgy parent in the first place. You know what I mean?
I think it's nonsense.
I think it's nonsense.
Nonsense, OK.
I think it's a lie.
You think it's a
Okay,
lie?
well, we'll say it's a lie then.
Pretty conclusively,
Yeah.
it's a lie. Jimmy Carr, were you telling us the truth then, or were you telling a lie?
I can tell you, it is absolutely true.
Wow. Yes, it's true. As a baby, Jimmy was regularly fed coffee in his bottle. Dave, you're next.
I once spent an entire Christmas locked in a bank.
David's team.
OK, by an entire Christmas, what are we talking? All 12 days, I'm assuming.
No, from Christmas Eve until about 7 o'clock on Boxing Night.
On Boxing Night?
Yes.
When the bank opened for the usual Boxing Day evening. Yes, I
No,
understand.
somebody came to let me out.
Which bank?
It was a merchant bank. I was working as a security guard, and I'd elected, due to personal trauma, that I'd spend my Christmas working overtime guarding Hill Samuel in Victoria.
And then they forgot about you.
No, because there was a rush on at Christmas. I never got relieved on Christmas morning.
Oh, we all look forward to that.
There, Rob, haven't we?
I mean, it's in the Brydon household, I have to say, it's my one Christmas treat.
It was a Christmas after John Lennon got assassinated.
And you had to go into hiding?
No.
I don't ever remember you being implicated in this.
But you see, I was living with a girl in Streatham.
Yeah, Yoko.
No. And we split up because she was seeing somebody else.
John Lennon.
So I needed to get a job. Yeah. And, you know, I wanted to be a bit of a martyr. So I said I'd work the Christmas shift as a security guard.
Like many of the great martyrs through history.
Dave, answer me this.
Yes, certainly, Griff.
You went through a period where you were so lonely and down that you didn't have any family of any kind whatsoever who was saying, come home for Christmas and come and, you know...
No, but
Christmas?
they laughed themselves silly when I phoned them up on Christmas Day and told them where I was.
How did you do that?
There was a phone in the bank.
What sort of bank is this? With a phone in it? Honestly, I've tried to phone a bank over and over and again.
So there's a phone in the bank.
Yes.
Why did you only use it to phone your family and not to phone someone who could have released you from the bank?
I kept phoning. It was a firm in Croydon that had employed me, and I kept phoning them, and they said they had nobody in to hold on. So I held on right through, like, 4 shifts.
And you accepted that?
I had no temperature. I was locked in the bank.
So
I couldn't get out. When you're guarding a bank, they lock you in.
They don't lock you in, surely. In the bank?
Well, they wouldn't give me the keys. I was only 22.
So that's how a merchant bank ensures its security over Christmas. It locks a 22-year-old in there. And they go, it's all right, if anyone breaks in, the 22-year-old will handle it.
No, but I had a phone. You see, I could have
What were you
phoned for the
supposed to do
police.
if the burglars all come in? You fit ring Croydon, they say, we'll have someone there in the next 36 hours.
Well, how did you actually celebrate Christmas? I mean, what did you do to mark it?
I did. Before I went to work, I did take myself a small capon. I stuffed it, little sausages and everything, and I put it by me, you know, away, and I looked forward to it. And when I got back on Boxing Night, the cat had me cape on because I forgot to put it away.
The cat was wearing your cape?
No, a capon is like a type of chicken.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't even have a Christmas dinner.
The cat wasn't wearing the apron.
He said...
The cat's there taking over, doing a fry and going, well, he's got about to look after himself.
No. He clearly said...
Like a big chicken.
No, he clearly said, I came back and the cat had me cape on. So, David, what are you thinking?
There is only one person who can answer this question here in this room. So we're going to have to turn to you, Jimmy. I wouldn't have thought there were many merchant banks in Victoria.
I don't really know much about banks in Victoria. If it was in Jersey, I'm your man.
So, is it the truth?
I think true.
Do you?
I like the detail, the cat, the capon. I love the story. I'd like to buy the rights.
We think it's true?
True, we think
You
it's
all
true.
think it's true?
True,
OK.
absolutely true.
Dave, truth or lie?
Sadly, it's true.
Yes, it's true. Dave once spent an entire Christmas locked in a bank. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. Now, this week, each of Lee's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to David's team to spot who's telling the truth. So, please welcome this week's special guest, Ray. So, let's start with Susanna. How do you know Ray?
This is Ray. I stole his title for downing a pint faster than anyone else on the BBC breakfast team.
Dave, what is Ray to you?
This is Ray, and as teenagers, we spent 2 weeks building a 35-foot-long airship in his back garden for it only to be popped by his pet cat.
What about you, Lee? What's your relationship with Ray?
This is Ray. He taught me to drive in a hearse.
So there we are. Susanna's pint-drinking opponent, Dave's airship-building buddy, or Lee's hearse-driving instructor. David's team, who do you want to start with?
How quickly can you drink a pint?
I can drink a pint in 6 seconds.
6 seconds?
Yes.
How quick was Ray?
7 seconds.
Thank God you said a number bigger.
And how long had Ray held the record?
3 years.
And how much less a man do you think he felt?
It was a tough phone call because I had to call him to tell him that his record had gone.
So you just did this at home, did you? I've had another one, Ray.
Sorry.
I'm really getting through it tonight.
Ray...
If you're drunk, why'd you turn northern, Jimmy?
Because of the alcohol.
All right. I don't mind. When I'm trying to fiddle the government, I always put on Jimmy's voice. We all do different things. We all do different voices.
Susanna, can you just fill me in? What was his role in the breakfast team then?
Ray was a floor manager of breakfast.
Right.
In Television Centre. I mean, Ray is famous for having the record of 7 seconds for downing a pint. But that was when we were at Television Centre in London. And then, of course, the breakfast team moved to Salford.
Right.
And Ray didn't come with us.
Oh, I see. So the breakfast team start downing pints when?
I've seen the show. I think they start before they film. I'm confident.
What's the context for this pint drinking? Is it an annual...
It is the annual Christmas party.
What is your pint drinking technique?
You have the pint.
And you drink it. Quickly.
I tap it once.
Yeah?
And I do it in 4 glugs.
4 glugs?
Yes.
You can't do a pint in 4 glugs. How big are your glugs? I'd like to know about the phone call. Did you want to call him straight away? Did you wait till the next day?
It was the next day.
Did you have to ring him? Because he's already, you know, lost his job. The place he works is closed. And so going on top of that, you may think you're remembered fondly as the fastest beer drinker here. Well, no, not even that. You've been beaten in that by one of the female presenters of the show.
He didn't care. He got a new job teaching people to drive in hearses.
Let's move on to that. So he taught you to drive why in a hearse?
Because that's the vehicle he owned, because he was a funeral director.
So what does the sign on his shop say?
Closed when he's teaching me.
Why did he teach you to drive if he was a funeral director?
Because he was a friend who was a funeral director. He just so happened to own a hearse.
Where did this all take place?
In the hearse.
No, I know
I sometimes said, can I have a lie down in the back if I was tired?
Where did he come from?
Southport.
Southport, the streets of Southport. You went
Yes.
to
How do you know
quiet-
I'm from Southport?
I told him.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because we've been doing this programme for 1,000 years.
Right, so you're in Southport.
Is that you, David? Is that David?
I know everything about you, including the fact that you did not learn to drive in a hearse. Nevertheless, we have to go through this.
What age did you get your driving lessons?
About 22.
Wow.
22?
Why, what?
About 22.
Well, I was a
did you
late
wait?
developer.
I
Didn't
don't
get my
think
first
he was-
girlfriend until 46. And I'm only 44. Give me a call in a couple of years.
Actually, I'd like to ask you something. What the name of this funeral director?
What, Ray's funeral directors?
Ray's funeral directors?
No, that's not my answer. I said what? Ray's funeral directors?
Yeah, and what was Ray's funeral directors called?
I'll tell you now. I'll tell you what Ray's funeral directors was called.
Yeah?
Jones's funeral director. Which just...
Jones, how does he do it? How does he come up with it so fast?
When he took you out for these driving lessons, did it ever happen that you had, how shall I put it, a passenger in the back?
No, but he did teach me once with a coffin in the back that didn't contain a body. It didn't contain anything. Before you go, what was in there?
Did he...
The Pardo have got a bit more protected over their fruit and veg.
Should we move on to the airship?
Yes, this is Dave.
So you built an airship. I mean, this seems entirely plausible to me. You built an airship in your back garden.
No, in Ray's back garden. We had a mutual love of dirigibles.
And how old were you when you did this?
16.
What did you build your airship out of?
It was mainly air.
No. No, it was plastic sheeting, but it was sculpted so it did form the shape of an airship.
How can you sculpt sheeting?
Because the way you cut it and you put it together, when it's blown up, it will assume that shape.
And was there anything underneath it?
There was meant to be, but it never got that far, really. When the cat jumped on it, it was kind of put
With
it
his
out of
cape
commission.
billowing in the wind behind
It was a different cat.
You have terrible trouble with cats. How did you inflate it?
With a vacuum cleaner put on blow.
So you blew it up with the
Do they
vacuum
have
cleaner.
blow function? I don't know.
Do you do the vacuuming very often?
God, no!
No, what about you?
I don't know. I'd have to ask my people, but I imagine someone does.
This is terrible to see 3 grown men who've never picked up a vacuum cleaner.
Oh, I have picked
Oh, I picked one up, yeah, but not for vacuuming.
Yeah.
So the idea was you actually get the shape formed, and then you heat the air that you put in, and hopefully it would have flown.
How do you heat the air once it's already in there?
Crafting a gondola with 2 camping stoves on.
OK.
It wasn't to carry people.
You said crafting a gondola.
Yeah, 'cause
now,
we never
I know
got that
what all
far
3 of
because-
those words mean, but I can't get a concept out of them.
In airship terminology, in dirigibles, it is a gondola that's suspended underneath the bag of gas.
Oh, you know what? That fact alone,
Have
true.
we changed channels?
Where were you going to go?
Venice.
Just flying, really. It was
I was
just...
thinking, next time I get locked in a bank, I want an escape plan.
You see, I've been on an inflatables course where
Yeah, been on it.
Right,
I know it.
Hang on. What is an inflatables course?
It's for people that keep letting down the girlfriend.
It was just learning how to make things out of plastic and blowing up. It was kind of a sculptural thing.
Now, let's go back to this cat. Did he jump from a tree or a wall?
Backyard wall.
Backyard wall.
Yeah.
So the cat saw this huge inflated thing and thought, I'm
Bloody
going
hell,
to
I
jump
love
on
that.
it.
Yeah. No, it just jumped on the top, and we were in it at the time.
You were in it? Why had
not-
you gone inside?
To work out where to put the heat shield.
Honestly,
That's true. That's true.
not be any more true.
To work out where to put the heat shield. True.
Right, chaps, we need an answer. So, David's team. Is Ray Dave's airship building buddy, Susanna's pint drinking opponent, or Lee's hearse driving instructor?
Let's go through, OK? So the her story, nonsense. I could imagine BBC Breakfast having a drinking competition.
So can I.
I'd remind you of the phrase, we were in there to see where to put the heat shield. You think he'd make that?
And let's not forget the phrase, Jones's funeral director.
I think he's a mate of Dave's.
I think he looks so much like a mate of Dave's. If we stood them face to face, it would look like a vase.
So you are saying, therefore...
Airship.
Airship, right.
Airship.
OK. Ray, please reveal your true identity.
I'm Ray, and I built an airship with Dave.
Thank you very much indeed, Ray. Which brings us to our final round, quick-fire lies, in which our panellists lie not only to their teeth, but against the clock. And we start with... It's Susanna. Off you go.
My dad used to keep a coconut in the car because holding it was the only thing that would cure my travel sickness.
David's team.
Where did the coconut come from?
We used to go on this very long journey to Devon.
Yeah.
That's where we used to go on holiday. One year, when the fair came to the village where we were staying, we won a coconut, and because I was sitting with it in the car on the way home, because I was so fond of it, it was the one journey where I didn't get sick.
And you hadn't opened the coconut, you hadn't given into
No.
the temptation, which most of us, when we get a coconut, really the thrill is the smashing open with the hammer of the coconut.
I disagree.
Oh.
It's the drilling and the sucking the milk out with the straw.
Some of us like to drill and suck, some of us like to smash.
This is what it says on robsmatch.com website.
So, talk us through the benefits. I mean, what was it about holding the hairy little fella that...
You got excited then, didn't you?
That's brought you such comfort.
I think it must have just been the texture of it and also the sheer distraction.
This could be the best night of your life, David.
It would help me to visualise if you could put your head in her lap. Can we do that? Can you just... You pop your head, just so we can get a feel. You could just...
Well, do you know what? He didn't take much persuading, did he?
So how would that look? Is this something we could believe in? Yeah, just slightly higher so we can see.
I'll tell you what, I'm
Yeah.
glad he faced that way. That could have been awkward, couldn't it?
You don't look as delighted with the coconut as I was expecting.
Can I just say, with my slightly spiky hair, I probably am slightly more coconut-esque. Just saying.
Too late, the coconut's been cast.
So, David.
Marvellous.
David, what are you thinking?
What do you think, Griff?
I don't believe the old hairy coconut story.
I think definitely true. So I'm saying true, Griff's saying not true.
I
So
don't know.
whoever your favourite is, just go with that.
It's like I'm, you know, a nasty dad with 2 children of very different ages. My instinct is it's true.
You think it's true? OK, Susanna, they say it's true. Were you telling the truth? Or were you, in fact, telling a lie?
It is a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Susanna's dad didn't used to keep a coconut in the car to cure her travel sickness. Next. It's Griff.
I pretended to Princess Margaret that I was deaf.
You pretended to Princess Margaret that you were deaf?
Yeah.
Why did you pretend you were deaf?
Because I needed I needed to explain that I didn't understand what she was saying.
What did she say?
She said, "What are you going to say?"
And how did you find out that's what she'd said?
Because I pretended to be deaf.
She
so
said,
she then said it loudly
Did
and
you have-
clearly.
What?
So did you have someone signing to you then?
What? She came up to me, and if you remember, she spoke in a sort of very Princess Margaret sort of voice, and so she said, we met and we were introduced, and she said, "Oh, you're here, yeah."
And you said?
And I said, "I beg your pardon, ma'am." And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Yes." And she said, "What do you mean, yes?" And I said, "I'm terribly sorry. I didn't quite catch what you said then, ma'am. I am a little deaf."
And she said,
"What are you going to say?"
And what were you going to say?
What?
What was the answer to the question? What were you going to say? What is the answer to that question?
I haven't thought it through yet.
You mean you talking to me now or to Princess Margaret?
To Princess Margaret.
So you said the answer should have been, "I haven't thought it through yet."
Yeah.
But what did you end up saying?
That's what I said to her. I haven't quite thought it through yet.
But what? The answer? No.
Yeah.
I'm asking. She said, "What are you going to say?"
Yes.
He said, "I haven't thought it through yet."
Yes.
What I want to know is, what were you going to say in the thing that you were supposed to say?
Oh, I was going to make a speech.
And what were you going to say?
He hadn't thought it through yet.
I hadn't thought it through at that stage.
What did you say?
Something about art.
Pardon?
Art.
Sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
No, I said I had to make.
Oh, that's better. You can hear better with your glasses on, can't you?
Yeah, I can see you because I can see your lips moving now. And probably I might be able to read them.
Okay.
It was a competition. It was an art
Competition?
competition.
Were you in it?
And I was giving prizes.
Oh, you were
to the
giving
people.
prizes?
Yeah, and she'd been invited along
Right.
as the a royal member of royalty. And so I met her,
Yeah.
and I couldn't understand a word she was saying, so I had to lie
And pretend you were
and
deaf.
it all went horribly wrong.
Lee, what are you going to say? Is that true, do you think?
What do you think, Susanna?
I think it's true.
Think it's true?
I think it's true. You can't stand there going, "Hey, you what?" I think Griff would try and just smooth his way out of it.
Yeah. He's a smoothie,
I think
isn't
it's
he?
true.
He's an old smoothie. I think it's
Yeah.
true.
You think it's true? Griff, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
What? It's true.
It's true. Yes, it's true. Griff did pretend to Princess Margaret that he was deaf. Next. It is Lee.
I have hidden in a cupboard to escape Anthea Turner.
David.
Where were you when this happened?
In the cupboard.
Where was the cupboard?
In the room I was hiding from Anthea.
Where was the room?
Just away from Anthea Turner.
What was the occasion? And do not define the occasion or the geographical space in relation to Anthea Turner. What else was it?
It was on a TV show that I was doing.
Hide in the cupboard from Anthea. I remember seeing it on BBC Three.
It was very good. I don't think Lee was ever on it, though.
Oh, that's a lie.
Yeah. What was the show called?
Pet Power.
Pet Power.
Pet Power. Yeah. It was
What was
about
the premise
cats
of
with
the show?
capes.
What were you doing on the show? What was your role on the show?
My role on the show, I was the warm-up man, like a TV warm-up man. Pet Power was a show where the pets would come on and there would be interesting stories about pets, and some of them, this particular incident, was a butchie goes up into the rafters, and I'm upstairs in my dressing room, and I'm watching it on the monitor, and I hadn't been doing comedy very long, and I was running out of things to go back and say to warm the audience up.
Yes.
And I saw the budgie go up in the rafters, panicked, and there was a knock on the door, hid in the cupboard. And they actually came into the room, but I was hiding in the cupboard.
And you mean the floor manager,
if you will,
turned to Anthea and said, Anthea, I need you to pop upstairs and get the warm-up
I don't think it was Anthea that personally came to get me.
Oh, I see.
But how will I ever know? How will I ever know, Griff?
They knocked on the door of your dressing room.
Correct.
Then what happened?
As the door opened, I thought, oh, my God, they're going to come and get me and say, come on, get out of the cupboard and do some jokes even though you've none left. And at that point, this is the bit you're not going to believe, I thought they're going to find me. And then I saw a lion, a witch... And I was able to escape into the forest, never to be seen again. No.
I'll tell you what I'm interested to know.
Yeah.
You didn't stay in the cupboard indefinitely.
No, because that would have been ridiculous.
You came out, and you must have chanced upon Anthea.
I did.
It wasn't really Anthea that went to look for him, it transpires, just the floor manager. It was a perfectly normal professional relationship. He's rather building up his intimacy with Anthea Turner. I don't think they've ever exchanged any words at all. Even in the lie world where any of this happened, which is not the world we're living in at all. Narnia is more believable.
David, could that be true?
Griff, do you think it's true?
It's not true.
Jimmy?
I think it could be true. I know Lee used to do TV warm-ups. I used to do TV warm-ups as well. That's how a lot of comics start. And I do think when you start out, you run out of material.
You do.
Do you think it's true?
I think it
You've
could be
talked
true.
yourself into thinking it's
Yeah, I have,
Well,
yeah.
I listened to you earlier in the show and it didn't work, so I'm going with Griff. It's a lie.
You think it's a lie? OK, Lee, was it the truth, or were you telling a lie?
Of course, it is absolutely true.
Yes, it's true. Lee has hidden inside a cupboard to escape Anthea Turner. And that noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show. I can reveal it's a draw. But it's not just a team game, and my individual liar of the week this week is Dave Myers. Yes, Dave and the truth. Like his hair and a brush, they just don't go together. Good night.